We're continuing the series that we started last week about the Talmud, and today it's the second lecture in this topic. We covered Masechet Brachot fully last week and some of Masechet Shabbat. I continue with Masechet Shabbat and we move on. Last thing we spoke about was vows, that the Gemara warns that a person who makes vows and swear and does not keep his promises is taking a very big risk that, God forbid, his children can die for it. We're not talking about a minor thing here. We're talking about a very serious problem. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi says there's other things that a person does that can, God forbid, affect his children. Because usually, what's the chidush here? What's new about it? Usually, the concept in Judaism, in the Torah, is that every person is responsible for his own mitzvot and his own sins. You do good, you get rewarded. You do bad, you get punished. Very rarely, a boy can get punished from his father's sins. So since there are few incidents that the kids can be affected from the behaving of their parents, because of that, the Gemara found that it's proper to bring those unique situations, which is vows, making promises, not keeping your promises. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi says, Ba'avon bitul Torah. A Jew has every day time to learn Torah, and if he doesn't have, he has to make time to learn Torah, and he doesn't care. He's wasting his time on sport, too much business, all kinds of things that are not as important, but the most important thing, he doesn't care. It's coming to learn Torah, it's not for him. That can affect, God forbid, the children of the person. Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Meir says, Ba'avon mezuzah. If the mezuzot are not kosher, if a person try to save on the price of the mezuzot and get mezuzot bediavad that barely are kosher, and there's questions about it, there's doubts, there's arguments if they're kosher or not, that can affect the life of the kids in this house. And the other last opinion here is because of tzitzit. A person is careless about mitzvah tzitzit. He doesn't care. He doesn't put tzitzit. He doesn't check if the tzitzit is kosher. He knows that the tzitzit is not kosher, but he also don't care. And tzitzit can be two things. Can be the tzitziot in a big talit that we wear on Shabbat and every morning for Shachrit. It could be also the tzitziot of the talit katan. That a person put talit katan when he wear a clothes that has four corners, and a person that wears such a talit is obligated to put the stripe, the strings, and the edge, which what we call tzitziot. So don't make mistake. Talit is the clothing, it's the material, and the tzitziot is the stripes that we tie, the knots that we make, and they have to be kosher in special ways that gives the names of Hashem. This is combination, all these knots and circles that we do. In the old days, it used to be one of them, used to be blue, light blue, greenish, what we call tchelet. It comes from a chilazon. This is a special fish that lives in the oceans that has a special balloon inside his body. It covers with a shell. You know this chilazon? It's like a squirrel inside. And they used to take a needle and make a hole in that little balloon, and blue blood comes out. Blood, that the color of that blood is not red like most bloods. It's special, beautiful blue blood. And with this blood, they used to paint the yeriot, the canvas of the Bet HaMikdash. They paint with that. They used to make the blue of the tzitzit, special color, spiritual thing. Someone who is not careful about putting tzitziot in clothes that have four corners, also, God forbid, is risking his children's life. Now you may tell me, Okay, we got the point. But what is the children's fault? If a kid is 5 years old, or 3 years old, or 1 week old, he has to die because he has a stupid father? Why does he have to die? His father has to pay the price for the mistakes that he make. Why does the little kid has to die because his father made such a sin? So my answer to you is, if you're asking me that, why don't you ask me about a mamzer? What is it, a mamzer? Illegitimate boy. A married woman cheated on her husband, got pregnant, and now she has a baby. This baby cannot become a part of the nation of Israel fully. He has restrictions applies to him. One of the restrictions that applies to him, he cannot marry any normal Jewish female or male, depending if it's a mamzer or mamzeret, unless if it's the same like them. Mamzer and mamzeret can get married. But if one of them is not, they cannot get married. So the question that you should ask, why the little baby one day has to suffer because his mother went to cheat? So the answer to all these questions, which are good questions, is that when Hashem decides what soul will enter the body of that woman, He doesn't choose a righteous person that has to come back to correct 1 or 2 sins. No. He takes somebody who deserves such a punishment. Someone from his previous life was so bad in relations, cheating, deceiving, doing all kinds of bad things. If he has to come back here, he won't start with a comfortable start. He will start in a very negative point. Negative point, which could be a mamzer, it could be anything else. If Hashem wants a person to live short life, which father is going to give him? A father that makes nedarim and doesn't keep his promises. A father that does not care about tzitzit. His father that is too cheap to put kosher mezuzot. He will buy the best Mercedes or Lexus, but when it comes to mezuzot, it's very common, very, very common. When it comes to mezuzot, he try to bargain on $5 or $10 to save, and in the end, he's losing the real insurance on the house, because mezuzot is life and death, if you didn't realize it by now. The Gemara continue, we're still in Masechet Shabbat, Amar Rish Lakish, continuing about mitzvah tzitzit. Since we have mentioned it already, we'll continue with that. Kol hazair betzitzit, someone who is careful with mitzvah tzitzit, zoche umeshamshim lo 2,800 avadim. In the next life, is going to have 2,800 goyim servants. Which goyim? Goyim that had the merit to inherit life after life, which means they have heaven in their own level. That's called righteous goyim, the goyim that kept the 7 laws. One of the rewards that they get is that they can serve the Jews in the next life. 2,800 servants. We're not talking servants here that he goes to get you water from the well or iron your shirts. That's not what we're talking here. In this world you don't have all these things. There's no food, none of these things. No sleeping, no working, no struggling for parnasa, no sicknesses, none of these things. So what do you need servants for? We're talking spiritual things. It's like a rabbi and students. You know, like the students are very happy to do things for the rabbis. More or less the same concept. It's a spiritual serving. Where we learned it from Prophet Zachary 8. Ko amar Hashem tzvaot. This is what Hashem says. Bayamim ha'ema asher yachziku 10 anashim mikol leshonot hagoyim. And those days, where the noise come from? בימים ההם אשר יחזיקו 10 אנשים מכל לשונות הגויים ויחזיקו בכנף איש יהודי. And in those days, after Mashiach will come, those special days that we are talking about, every 10 of them will come to hold the kanaf. Kanaf means the corner of the clothes of a Jew. And they'll say, let us walk with you. Let us stick to you. Rabbi Nehemiah Omer, Ba'avon Sinat Chinam, how it got from 10 to 2,800s, the Gemara makes the calculation of all the nuts in the circles, or multiply by 4, all together it gives us 2,800. Rabbi Nehemiah says, Ba'avon Sinat Chinam, if a person doesn't like other people for no reason, You should never have a reason not to like you have to love every Jew like you love yourself. Even a Jew stole your money, technically you say, stole all my money, I should love him? The answer is yes. I know it's hard, but that's the requirements. ואהבת לרעך כמוך. I still have to love every Jew. יצר הרע, after all, if you didn't deserve it, he wouldn't come to you. So you're just as guilty. You just like to put all the blame on the thief. But if the thief came to you, there's a reason why he came to you. Just accept it as Hashem took it from you. The person who chose to steal from you is going to get his punishment because he chose to do it. But he got the approval of Hashem. Let's never forget that. If Hashem did not approve it, he would not be able to touch you. So the Gemara says, Ba'avon sinat chinam, if a person doesn't like other Jews, speaks lashon hara about them, instigate, do not invite them, do not want to be with them, all kinds of things, he thinks he's better, or anything like that. It's called sinat chinam. Hatred for no reason whatsoever. It brings him meriva rabba betoch beto. First thing that it's going to affect him, that he will never have shlom bayit with his wife. Every little thing his wife rebel against him. He wants to buy this, she wants the opposite. He wants this car, she wants another car. He wants this couch, she fights, she wants something else. He wants to go to Israel for the summer, she wants to go to Florida. He wants to go to his parents, she wants to go to her parents. Everything is a fight. No matter what he said, he gets to a point that when he wants to get something, he say right away the opposite. Because he knows she's going to argue, like this he gets what he wants. But he thinks he can fool Hashem. He doesn't know Hashem's going to find him other problems with the children. Problems in his house doesn't necessarily mean that it's all the wife. It could be also from the children. Meriva betoch beto. All kinds of arguments in his house. Ve'ishto mapelet nefalim. God forbid his wife has higher chance to have miscarriages. She gets pregnant, boom, she loses the baby. Sometimes you hear people that have it, who knows how many times. One of the reasons could be sinat chinam. Maybe there's a Jew you don't like, and you hate him in your heart, and because of that, problems comes to you, and you don't see the connection. I want to tell you, many years ago, when I went to speak to the autistic kid, you speak to the soul, not to the body. The body and the brain is disconnected. So obviously the brain is not functioning. So I asked the woman over there, the woman that she's communicating between you and this autistic kid through the board. I asked her, what's the most bizarre things you ever saw with speaking to these autistic kids? What's unusual things? She told me a few stories. One thing connects to what we speak here, about sinat chinam. She said that there was a couple in Monsey that do not have their own kids. For a few years they try to have kids. They can't have kids. In the meantime, the wife is bored all day alone in a big, nice house. So they decided to adopt a little baby. Which baby you can adopt? Autistic kids. It's easy. Their parents cannot handle them, so they give them away for adoption sometimes, unfortunately. So they decided to adopt a little 2 years old autistic Down syndrome kid. So they thought that it's a chesed. We do this mitzvah, maybe Hashem will have mercy on us and send us a baby of our own. So after they had that baby, after a period of time, I'm not sure how long, a year, 2 years, whatever it was already too much for them, so they decided to return him back to the agency. So before, they heard that there's a way to communicate with them. So they invited her, she went there, and through the communication that she was doing, all of a sudden he told them, I know that you're trying to get rid of me and return me back to the agency. That's going to be a very big mistake. Because if you do that, you will never have kids on your own. So they asked him why, what's the connection? So he says that in our previous life, all three of us were neighbors. You, your wife, and I. I was a yeshiva bachur. I was learning all day Torah. And both of you were my neighbors, and you made me a lot of problems. Every day you picked on me, and I hated you in my heart. When I died, in my trial, Hashem told me, you really deserve to go directly to heaven. No hell, no things, but you have one sin that prevents you from getting your place in heaven. What is it? Lo tisna et achicha bilvavcha. Do not hate your brother, your Jewish brother, in your heart. Because I failed in that obligation, Hashem gave me a chance to be reincarnated as an autistic kid, Down syndrome, and brought me to your house for both of you to take care of me for a few years until you correct your sins, and my sins will be corrected, and all three of us can correct that sin. So if you send me now, you did not fulfill your obligation. So obviously they got the shock of their life. They were thinking, here, tomorrow morning we're getting rid of him. They found out that they had to keep him now. So after a while, he passed away. You know, usually these kids, they live short lives. After X amount of time, he died, and a few years later, they had their own children, this couple. So this is just giving you an idea about sinat chinam. When you hate somebody, in this case, I'm sure he had a reason why he hated them. He didn't hate them just because of their look. Today, people hate people just because they don't like their look. He doesn't like the color of his skin. He doesn't like his accent. He doesn't like that he's primitive. He doesn't like his father. All kinds of nonsense. His nationality, whatever. That's a much bigger sin. Because by hating somebody because of his race, or hating someone because of the color of his skin, or because of his accent, you don't hate him, you hate Hashem. Make no mistake. When you hate a person because he's dark, or too light, or blonde, or black hair, or short, or tall, or ugly, or whatever the case may be, you basically hate Hashem. Because Hashem made him like this. This is what I said in one of the lectures, that the son of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai saw an ugly person, and he told him, such an ugly person I never saw in my life. So the guy got very offended. He told him, why don't you go to the artist who designed me? Ask him, how did he design such an ugly creature? So he realized right away he made a mistake. So he started to beg him, forgive me, but he didn't want. Until he saw that the entire city is coming to welcome Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. They begged him to forgive him, and in the end he said, I will forgive him for you people, not for him. For him I don't deserve, he doesn't deserve it. But for you I will forgive him, because you're all respecting him. So from here we see, laughing at people because who they are is definitely not a wise thing to do. So the Gemara continue. Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Yehuda says, Ba'avon chala, a woman that disrespects the mitzvah of chala, afrashat chala, when she bakes chalas, right? She makes the doughs. She has to cut a piece of the dough with a bracha and put it away. Supposedly it's goes to the Kohen. We don't have Bet HaMikdash today, so we put it aside. We like to put it in a bag, and in Pesach we take all the afrashot chala and go and burn it with the chametz. That's what we do in my house. But this is an important mitzvah. And someone who disrespects this mitzvah or ignore it or neglect it, lose his blessing. It brings blessing to the house. All kinds of blessing. The Gemara continue, still in Masechet Shabbat. Bezman she'atzadikim bador, when you have real righteous people in a generation, they are responsible for the entire generation's sins. Which means, if there is a big rabbi in this town, very big tzaddik, not rabbi, doesn't have to be rabbi. There are people that are tzaddikim and they're not rabbis. They hide somewhere. They're not acting as any rabbis. So, if there are so many sins in that place, this tzaddik has a share in it. Why? Because if I'm here and all the people around me are not decent, they're not good, and I have a way to influence them and improve them, and I sit in my corner with my books and I don't care, or even I care but I'm not putting any efforts, then who is going to be responsible? In the army, if one little soldier in Israel make a mistake, he's shot by mistake, they can get the head of the army and get him out of his job. What does he know? He doesn't know anything about this soldier. He doesn't know where he was. He doesn't know who sent him. They go to the chief commander, chief of staff over there. They fired him. What? you are the head of the army. If you would prepare the army in the right way, it would go from you to your deputy, to his deputy, until it gets to the ordinary soldier. Since you didn't do your job in the top of the pyramid, the soldiers are doing all kinds of things. This is how it works in every normal army, in a police, in companies, in business, right? If the company doesn't have good earnings, right away they go to the president and fire him. Maybe it's not his fault. It has to be his fault. If he was aware of what's going on, we would not get to that point. Same thing the tzaddikim, it's needless to say. If there is no righteous people, if there's no righteous people, sometimes there's no righteous people in this country or in this city. Nobody is here, like Las Vegas. Can you find righteous people there? They used to be, but they moved to Israel. Not anymore. There was one family of tzaddikim gmurim. But now, when they're not there, if people make sins, who's going to be responsible for them? Tinokot shel bet rabban, babies that sits and learn Torah in yeshiva, because of their Torah, if something probably went wrong in their Torah, that there are so many sins over there. Why? If they would do what they're supposed to do, supposedly these sins should not take place. So that means something is wrong, and chas v'shalom it can affect the kids. That's why the Gemara say, Kol Israel arivim ze lazeh. A Jew makes a sin in New York, a Jew in Tel Aviv can die because of it. We are all connected. So it's a system. If you take out one screw from the laptop here, something can go wrong in the other side of it, in a different system. It's a chain reaction. You don't see the connection, right? Sometimes you tell the doctors, my finger hurts, right? You tell him my finger hurts, he goes to your back. He presses on certain places. You tell him, oh, you fool. I'm telling you my finger hurts. Why are you touching my back? I say, you are the fool. It's all the nerve system. The root of this finger starts here in the spine. You don't understand how it goes. This is it. You know, if your feet are not proper, your back hurts. It's the same thing, you know. This is how it goes. Then the Gemara continues, 3 things makes the person poor. I'm sure nobody wants to be poor, especially now when everybody becomes poor anyway. You don't want to speed it. You know, we try to prevent the decree as much as we can. What are they? Not all of them applies to us, Baruch Hashem, but let's say it anyway. One is a person, in the old days there was no bathroom like today. You go in, you close the door, you have air condition, lights, marble, mirrors, towels, all kinds of creams. 5 Spanish were there today to clean for you, you know, from Peru, from Zimbabwe, from Guatemala. No, a different world today, in the old days. Bathroom was a little bucket. A person wants to make what he needs to do. And every 5 minutes he's going to go to the street or go to the forest. So they used to have, we call it in Hebrew, paila. They have a little bucket, round bucket. They take it to the corner, they make, and lay there once or twice a day. They go and they spill it somewhere in a shavy or something like that, or in a lake that takes it away. That's how it was. That's life like today. Rabbi, which toilet paper should I buy? This one or that? This not soft enough. What was the toilet paper? Leaves from the tree. Leaves. They used to take the leaves, clean it as much as they can, and that was the bathroom. I remember when I was a kid, there was no disposable diapers. I had to make laundry to the diapers. I can't imagine how it was possible, but I know everybody was doing it 30, 40 years ago, right? So I guess it was possible. So anyway, the Gemara say 3 things makes a person poor. 1, who stands naked in front of his bed, the bed that he sleeps at night, and make his bathroom, standing and making into this bucket, naked, in front of his bed. It's mystical thing. Don't ask me what's the connection, I don't know. But I'm telling you the secrets of the Talmud. That's one way to become poor. Second, someone who disrespects netilat yadayim. He has plenty of water, but you know, he puts a little bit. No, you have to put tons of water. Don't be lazy to refill it. The more water you spill, the better it gets. What's the secret here? If you make a bracha, asher קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו על נטילת ידיים, abbreviation אני. על, עין, נטילת, נון, ידיים, יוד. אני. You don't want to be poor? Make sure you put a lot of water. Water is parnasa, it's bracha. And one that ishto mekaleleto befanav, a person that got to a point with his wife that she cursed him in his face. That was something very rare in the old days. Maybe they did not dream that today it will happen every 5 seconds. They didn't dream. It used to happen once in a blue moon in the old days. But if a person got to a situation that his wife cursed him in his face, it's already like a red line that nobody can think of, you know. And in that case, something like this can lose the blessing in a house. It takes away the blessing and brings poverty to this family. Okay, so then we continue. Amar Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, Im Talmid Chacham, if someone is a real Talmid Chacham, what's considered Talmid Chacham? Who is a Talmid Chacham? Is every rabbi is a Talmid Chacham? Is every speaker is a Talmid Chacham? No, the answer is no. Talmid Chacham means a person that every question you ask him about every subject in Judaism, he knows what to answer. Of course, once in a while he can forget one or two, questions, answers. We're not, nobody is an angel. But in general, over the years, every question you call, you ask, you come, you ask, right at the spot he knows the answer. He knows the answer, or sometimes he knows where to find it. In a minute, he pulls the book, he opens the book, there is the answer. That's called a Talmid Chacham. Okay. So, what does they say about Talmid Chacham? They say like this. Im Talmid Chacham nokem venoter kenachashu chogreu al motnecha. This if is a Talmid. The Torah say you should not take revenge against any Jew. Don't take revenge. What does it mean to take revenge? There are two ways to do it. One is called nokem, and one is called noter. The Torah say lo tikom velo titor. Linkom, it's to take revenge. What's lintor? It's to keep in your mind what he did to you, and then later you mention it to him. I give two examples. Lo tikom means you ask your friend for a hammer. You needed to bang some nails on the wall. He told you, no, I can't give it to you. 2 weeks later, he needs a hammer. He comes to you and say, can I borrow your hammer? You're not allowed to tell him, you want a hammer from me? 2 weeks ago I asked for you, you didn't give me. I'm not giving you. You don't deserve it. This is a sin from the Torah like eating pork. Hard, huh? You have to tell him, of course, sure, here is my hammer. Why? What's the point? The next time he will learn his lesson. This will achieve improvement in his life better than tell him, I won't give it to you because you didn't give it to me. What does it mean, lo titor? Same thing. You ask the hammer from him and he did not want to give it to you. 2 weeks later he comes to ask, so you give it to him, but you say one thing. You say, you see, I'm not like you. When I asked from you, you didn't want to give me, I'm giving you. Just saying that, it's also a sin from the Torah. Like eating shrimps. That was pork, this is shrimps. Why? I gave it to him. I wanted to teach him. No. The Torah says no. So it means, lo tikom and lo titor. However, we find something that is a complete opposite here. Completely the opposite. What? The Torah says if he's a Talmid Chacham, sometimes it's mitzvah for him to take revenge. What are we talking here about? Not about personal things about his own life. No. Somebody who disrespected his Torah. He didn't give him the proper respect. Now the problem that this person has is not with that rabbi, is with Hashem. I can forgive my honor, the rabbi should say. But I cannot forgive in the name of Hashem. Then when he has a problem. So sometimes it's mitzvah to teach the people lesson. We are not expert when and what, but just to give you an idea that something like this exists. Then, if your neighbors are amei aratzot, complete ignorance, they don't learn Torah, they don't know anything, your neighbors, make sure to leave this neighborhood immediately. Don't continue to live with such neighbors. Not because you have to hate them. No. That's not what we say here. The risk of living in a bad neighborhood that nobody knows Torah, they're too modern, or they're not religious at all, it's almost guaranteed that they're going to ruin your children. Guarantee. Why? Who your children is going to play with? With his kids. His kids walk without yarmulke, without tzitzit. They curse. They repeat what they watch in their television. Every other word is a curse, right? Then all of a sudden he comes with an earring. Age 12 he comes with a tattoo. You know, you already have a girlfriend. Your kids goes to good yeshiva. They holy kids. Your kids and his kids, it's like putting milk and cheese together. I mean, the meat and cheese together. It doesn't go together. Rabbi, it's cheap here. You know, I'm going to move over there. I'm going to pay double rent. You better work until 3 o'clock at night and be over there, then live over here in a comfortable way, and then your children's going to have also their own earrings later on. Yes. Short. Yeah.
But what if you think that, you want to help them, like to become more religious?
You want to help them, you move to a good place, and you come like I do. See, I come from very far to give lectures. I don't have to be the neighbors of not religious people in order for me to make them religious. I can travel. I can, invite them to seminars, invite them to lectures, speak to them on the phone, send them letters, give them books, give them CDs, no problem. Nowhere in the Torah there's an obligation to be their neighbor. The opposite. The Gemara said that a millionaire came to Rabbi Yossi. He told him, Rabbi, we have our town loaded with money, and we don't have a rabbi. I want you to come be our rabbis, and everything you want, just name it. We'll give it to you. We have no problem with money. Just come be our rabbi. He told them, if you give me all the money and the gold in the world, I will not live anywhere besides a place that has Torah there already. Not that I'm going to move to a desert and make Torah over there. First, I'm going to go to a place that there is Torah. Why? For my children. They have where to go to learn. Once my children are safe and we have a religious neighborhood, then I'll cross the fence to the next neighborhood and make them also religious. But to come on the expense of my own children, no, there's no permission. So this is it. I know that some other people do it when they're taking a big risk. Sometimes they get lucky. Sometimes the children pay the price. You see it. So we need, in general, we need a lot of siyata dishmaya, because sometimes people can live in the best neighborhood in the world and their kids go off the way. It's the souls that came to the world like this already. From the day they're born, they're not interested in Torah. And sometimes you can live in Sodom and Gomorrah, like San Francisco, Las Vegas, or the Village, and somehow your kids are very interested in Torah. They go to yeshiva in Manhattan, in Lower East Side. You have yeshiva there. Some of the kids are very good. It's hard to be religious in Manhattan, but apparently sometimes it doesn't affect them. Sometimes they already became completely goyim, the kids. So it's really depends. There are many different things when you raise a kid. You have to check who is his friends, what school you're sending him to, how they're behaving in a family. There are a few different things here. And plus, some of it he's born with that. There's not always you can do it. Like Yitzchak has a son, Esav. We can't blame Yitzchak for not giving Esav the proper education. Why the Torah told us that story? To tell you some things you cannot understand. Nistarot darkei Hashem. Not everything we understand. Sometimes Hashem take a righteous person, could be a rabbi, could be a Talmid Chacham, it can be a great example, and he give them kids that are dirty souls from previous lives. Why? He's the one of the only people in the world that can handle them somehow and save 20% of them. Cannot save them completely because they're very wicked from their previous life. But since they're by him, they have a chance now. Later, they cannot come to Hashem and say, it's not fair. Who did you give me as a father? A fool from somewhere that doesn't know how to open Torah? Of course I stayed Rasha. If you give me a father that is a big rabbi, then I had a chance. So now Hashem gave him a rabbi, and in the end, he showed him, you see, I gave you the best father, and look how you became. You have no excuses. We don't understand. There's a lot of things to take to consideration here. Only Hashem knows how to do it best. We continue. אמר איש לקיש, כל המגדל כלב רע בתוך ביתו, מונע חסד מתוך ביתו. To raise a bad dog inside your house, we are not talking little puppet, all these little whatever you call them. We're talking angry wolf, you know, those dogs that as soon as you come here, you shake. You raise them in your home, even you think you train them, and whatever you tell them they're going to listen, they always will surprise you. I used to give lectures in Yonkers, and the owner of the house used to have a dog like this big, very, very scary dog. As soon as he barks, your blood freezes. And he used to have a chain, metal chain. That's how strong he is. And he's off the living room, there's a little room outside, you know, in a driveway outside. And every time somebody comes and he recognizes a new face, he begins to bark and he tries to come to attack that person. But the leash, it's a very strong leash. So I used to tell him, get rid of him. Why do you need this dog here in the house? What's good is that? What? You're afraid that somebody will steal your jewelry? Make insurance. You don't need a dog here. No, see how he listens. Thibaut, sit. The dog sits down. As soon as the guy comes, the dog was afraid of him. See, he cannot do anything. I just tell him, sit, he sits. A few months later, I finished my series of lectures over there. All of a sudden, maybe a year later, I found out that one woman came to their house. Somehow, he got released from this chain. He attacked that woman, ripped her apart, and she sued them for all their money. To the best of my knowledge, they lost all their money. I told him, get rid of him. This is what the Gemara says. Why do you need to be a trainer to train a dog inside your house? Dogs belong somewhere else. It's animals. Jews not supposed to bring animals to his house. Unless if it's a little, you know, these little, all kinds of little animals, hamsters, all these things, little birds. No, fine, it's no problem. But other than that, you got to be careful. Okay, now, the Gemara says, we're still in Masechet Shabbat. 3, the older they get, the stronger they get. Usually nature is, the older you get, the weaker you become. But there are 3 unique things that the older they get, the more old they get, the stronger they become. Who? Fish, snakes, and pig. Fish, snakes, and pig. 3, the older they get, the stronger they become physically. Amar Rabbi Shimon ben Fazi. Amar Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi mishum bar kapara. Everybody brings the source, where he got it from. So the real source is bar kapara. Kol המקיים 3 סעודות בשבת. Every Jew who makes 3 meals on Shabbat, real meals, not some crackers. Real meals, bread, washing his hands, seeding, meat, fish, wine, a real meal. ניצול מ3 פורענויות. That the future to come, it will help him to get saved from 3 different tragedies. From the hard days of Mashiach, before Mashiach come, will be horrible days in the world. So he will be able to get saved thanks to the 3 meals that he made every Shabbat. And from the judgment of hell, Gehenom, and from the war, what we call Gog uMagog, the big war that will take place before the resurrection of the dead and the Mashiach. When the Mashiach comes, it's going to be a big war in the world. It's called Gog uMagog. He is going to get saved from these 3 different tragedies. For what? For enjoying and eating on Shabbat. However, we have to know that during the week, an average person eats like 3 meals a day. 3 meals a day. Some eats 2, but most people eat 3 meals a day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 7 times 3, it's 21 meals a week. From 21 meals that we eat a week, only 1 of them is for the sake of heaven. 20 of them are for the sake of the pleasure of our stomach. That's why the way we look. But 1 meal, we do it for Hashem, not for me. When is it? In the summer, it's Seudah Revi'it. When Shabbat finish, it's finished 9:30. You just ate Seudah Shlishit at 9 o'clock. You stuffed. An hour or 2 later, you have to eat another meal. But you stuffed. You just finished. You went to shul. You daven arvit. You come back. You have to do Seudah Revi'it. Very difficult. So that's called Seudah L'Shem Shamayim. Why do I eat Hashem? Not because I want to eat. I eat because you say it's mitzvah to eat after Shabbat a 4th meal. And in the winter, Which סעודה is לשם שמיים? סעודה שלישית, the third meal. Why? You just finish your Shabbos meal at 12:01 in the afternoon, right? And 2 hours later you have to sit and eat again, but you're stuffed. It's very hard. Those 2 meals are the only meal for the sake of heaven. That's why 3 meals on Shabbat is mitzvah, and the reward is tremendous. Kol ha'me'aneg et HaShabbat, someone who is me'aneg et HaShabbat, not me'aneg himself. What does he mean, me'aneg? Gives pleasure. Mit'aneg means receive pleasure. Me'aneg means give pleasure. How do you give pleasure to the Shabbat? You serve the food in the best plates that you have. You put the best tablecloth. You light the candles in some silver or crystal things that you have. You wear the nicest clothes that you have, the nicest shoes that you have, the nicest ties that you have. Everything for Shabbat. The food is the best that you have. It shows that you love Hashem and you love Shabbat. But if Shabbat for you is just a day to sleep and snore with the newspaper in your bed, that's like someone who is sick and takes a day off from work. It's not really Shabbat for him. You understand? So automatically, what's the reward for that? Notnim lo nachala belo metzarim. He has no borders to his success. He continues to expand literally. More property, more blessing in his businesses, in his property, in his real estate. Thanks to this, that he gives respect a lot to the Shabbat. Shene'emar, the prophet Yeshaya said in Isaiah 58, Az titanag al Hashem, va'achalticha nachalat Yaakov avicha, and you're going to benefit, to inherit the nachala, the land or the property of Yaakov avicha, which is endless. Hashem bless Yaakov that there's no end, no borders to the blessing that he gives him. And that's from here we learn. We're still in Masechet Shabbat. The Gemara says, Ilmale Shamru Israel Shabbat Rishona. The first Shabbat, there was a person called Tzlofchad. He came and made a violation for the first time in history. He did not keep Shabbat. What did he do? Mekoshesh etzim. He was gathering pieces of wood, like somebody who tried to make fire, so he collected all kinds of wood to make a pile. Something like this is not permitted on Shabbat. Tzlofchad did it, and the first Shabbat was violated right away. Chazal tell us that he did this for the sake of heaven. Why? After Moshe executed him, Hashem told Moshe to kill him, Leman yiru v'yirau, that everybody see what's the punishment of a Jew that doesn't keep Shabbat, the covenant of Hashem. Everybody learned that with Shabbat you don't play games. You don't play games. So the Gemara says, but after all, if Tzlofchad would have not done what he did, that means the entire nation of Israel keeps Shabbat fully, what would be the result? No nation would ever have permission to arm the nation of Israel, ever. Not the Greeks, not the Romans, not the Babylonians, not the Egyptians, not the Philistines, not all these nations, Amalek. None of them would have permission to touch us. We would reach such a level of protection thanks to the blessing of Shabbat. Then, Amar Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Ilmale Meshamrim Israel Shte Shabbatot Miyad Nigalim. But it's still not too late. If the nation of Israel will keep fully 2 Shabbatot, all of them, right away the salvation will begin. Not a minute after. Motzei Shabbat, Eliyahu Hanavi comes and the Mashiach comes right away. It sounds difficult to make all the Jews in the world to keep, because some Jews don't even know that they're Jews. They think they go in Bichlal. Their parents never told them who they are. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, we're still in Masechet Shabbat. Gnayu letalmid chacham. It's an embarrassment for someone who is a Talmid Chacham, is a great scholar in Torah, to walk to the street with ripped shoes. Remember, in the old days it was very difficult to get shoes. It wasn't like today every woman has 300 pairs of shoes in her closet. What shoes they had? The pieces of leather, they sew it together just to protect the bottom of the feet, not to have glasses or nails going, or not to burn your feet when you walk on a boiling sand. That's what they need shoes for. What did they need shoes for? To show their beauty? To pay $1,000 a pair of shoes? No. But if the shoes were ripped, For ordinary person, no big deal. Everybody knows he's nothing special. But if he's a great rabbi, somebody who teach Torah and people come to learn from him, is an embarrassment, is despicable for somebody like this to walk with ripped shoes into the market, into the public. Amar Rabbi Chia Baraba, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, it's worse than that, not only the shoes. If a Talmid Chacham has a stain on his shirt, oil stain, oil from the meat or from the fish spilled on his shirt, and he walks like this to the street, somebody like this, chas v'shalom, deserve not to live anymore. That's how bad it is. Why? He embarrassed the name of Hashem. Why? What the Chilonim will say, or the Goyim? This is their Torah? Look at this rabbi, looks like a homeless. That's the Torah? The chief rabbis look like this? Such a Chilul Hashem, there's no forgiveness for that. We are not talking about somebody who went to his friend for Shabbat. He has one shirt, and accidentally somebody spilled on him oil, on his shirt. We're not allowed to do laundry on Shabbat. One of them came to the Chazon Ish and complained that his brother spilled oil on his shirt and he wants to go to the shul with the stain, and they're arguing. He told him, don't come like this to the street. Don't come, because it's a Chilul Hashem. And the guy said, no, I'm anus. Anus means I'm forced. It's not in my hand. I'm not in my house. So he asked the Chazon Ish, should he walk like this with a stain based on this Gemara in Masechet Shabbat, or he should not? So the Chazon Ish told him, that's not Chilul Hashem. That's Kiddush Hashem. When a Jew comes to the shul with a stain on his shirt, and everybody looks and he gets embarrassed from it, but he still did not take water and soap and clean his shirt because it's Shabbat, that's a Kiddush Hashem. That sanctifies the name of Hashem, which means I'm willing to get embarrassed in front of everyone as long as I won't take the towel with some water and clean the stain. That shows I'm Mirei Shamayim. I'm fearful from Hashem. That's Kiddush Hashem. Apparently, we are not talking here on Shabbat. We're talking on every day when he eats, and now he gets very dirty, and he walks like this to the street, and everybody talks about the religion. That's called Chilul Hashem. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Talmidei Chachamim nikraim banaim. Talmidei Chachamim, great scholars of Torah, they called builders. That's their nickname, should be. Why? Why builders? Because they build the world constantly. The world is rebuilt all the time, every week, again and again, and the energy of this whole world comes from their Torah. That's why Hashem called them Banaim, the builders of my world. Then, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Ezeu Talmid Chacham shememanim oto parnas al hatzibur. Who is a rabbi that deserves to be in charge of a public? Somebody that you ask him any question in halakha, and he tells you where it is and what's the answer, as I said before. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Ezeu Talmid Chacham. Who is a Talmid Chacham, a great rabbi, that the people of his city are obligated to serve him and to do everything that he needs, to get him a car, to get him a house, to clean his house, to clean the shul for him, to drive him around if it's necessary, to do his laundry, everything like you have a king. That's how you take care of your king. Who deserves to get such a treatment? Someone who dedicates his life to do only things for the sake of heaven and nothing for himself. If he leaves his business, he doesn't make money. He's talented. He can be a great salesman. He can be a great businessman. But what does he do? He learns Torah, teach Torah, makes people closer to Hashem. All his time goes for the Torah and for the public. The public has to be fair. He gives his life for us. We have to contribute, each one of us, to do what needs to be done for him. Participating in his expenses and efforts and services that he needs, him and his family, of course, makes you a partner of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the creation of the world. Is a very good investment. Then, or like if you have cows, so you have to take care of his cows, camel, horse, whatever the case may be. We're still in Masechet Shabbat. Amru leRebbi. They said, why Rabbi Yehuda Anasi, the president of Israel, they called him Rabbeinu HaKadosh. Not everybody got the title, the Holy Rabbi. There are many rabbis, great, tzaddikim, no problem. But Rabbi Yehuda Anasi, automatically everybody say Rabbeinu HaKadosh, our holy rabbis, and everybody knew who you refer to. Why? Because it was well known that all his life, he never looked with his eye below his belt. He had a belt. He made sure from the day he was a kid until he died, he lived 120 years, not one time he looked below his belt to see how it looks down there. That's how modest he was. And he testified on himself that all my life I was making sure not to look down to a place that you're not supposed to look. No, to look not. Okay, so one other opinion here, that he never reached his arms under his belt. He always kept his hands higher and never put it down in the lower part of the body. Amar Rabbi Yossi, מימיי לא ראו קורות ביתי אמרי חלוקי. The walls in my house never saw my underwears and undershirt. Never. Always my kilt. But the way I was changing clothes is under the blankets. That's how modest I was. We had in our generation someone like that, the Baba Sali. Nobody could ever see a hair from his head or 1 inch from his body. He was covering himself 1,000,000 times better than the rabbit sense today. Go to any rabbit sense you want to see how modest she is. Take the Baba Sali 30 years ago, the way he was dressed, more modest than them, and he's a man. He's not so strict. A man, after all, doesn't have to be modest like a woman, yeah? This is modesty. Amar Rabbi Yossi, מימיי לא עברתי על דברי חבריי. I always respected my friend and never argue with them in everything they told me. I never said something in my life and did not keep what I say or change my mind. You understand? Now, we're not talking about people who comes to brag, I'm the holiest one in town. Why you don't ask me? We're not talking about this. Is idiots, fools. We're talking holy people that they take the dead and bring him back to life with the knowledge that they had. Why they say it? To make their student be aware to what level you can reach. What level you can reach. Tanya Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda say 2 angels walking a person on the way from shul to his house every Shabbos evening. Friday night when he comes back from shul, he walks into his house. There is 1 good angel on his right and 1 bad angel on his left. Make sure when you walk home not to forget that there are 2 angels above you walking with you to your house. When he comes to his house, if he finds the candles are lit already and the table is all set beautifully and the beds are all set ready for Shabbat, the good angels say a blessing. Yehi Ratzon, I'm blessing this house that next week it will be just the same, next Shabbat. And the bad angel, as much as he hated, he must say Amen. That's the deal. Say Amen. He hates to say Amen, but he has no choice. And if it's the other way around, screaming, the children, the wife, where are you? I needed your help. I'm not ready. Help me. The guests are on the way. Ezu, the bad angel say, I'm cursing this house that next week will be just as bad. And the good angel has to say Amen. Make sure you don't give him a reason to say curse. So, not to talk about people who have television, they come from shul and light the television. This is, they're cutting Judaism completely from their life. Rabbi, I went to shul, Rabbi, I'm lighting candle. And 2 minutes later, he turns the television and lights cigarette. What's Shabbat? To do, not to say beautiful words. I once gave an example. Somebody who comes to his wife, he brings her flower and perfume and punch her in her face. Always the same thing. She needs his perfume and flower. I love you, honey. Boom. Oh, she's on the floor. Don't love me. Please hate me, just don't touch me. Your action shows that not only you don't love me, you hate me. Words are nothing. Somebody said the tongue does not have a bone. It can move and say whatever it wants. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said to Hashem, Ribono shel olam, how did you do such a thing? Couldn't you create two mouths to a person? One mouth for Torah, one mouth for business. Why from the same mouth we have to say good things and dirty things? Right? 2 minutes later, he screams, he fights, yeah. So Hashem told him, I gave people one mouth, they cannot control it. Imagine if they had to. All day he would walk on the street with two mouths. One mouth here, one mouth there. Hey, I want to go to the right. Be quiet, you fool. I want to go. Fighting. No, I like this color. No, I don't like it. A person cannot get out of his bed. Why? Two mouths fighting. You know, you have few Siamese twins. They have one body and two heads on the shoulder. One head here and one head here. And they're arguing. Did you ever see it or no? You have it in the internet. Clips like this. Real. So what is it? What's the secret here? It's two people that used to be enemies in their previous life and couldn't look at one each other and always disagree. Hashem puts them in one body. Two souls, one body, and now they have to manage all the time together. If one wants to go to sleep and the other one wants to go play basketball, they have to agree where to go because they have only one set of legs. It's like two drivers with one car. They both need the car. You and your wife arguing. I need the car to go here. No, I need the car to go there. You have only one car. You have to manage. Right? Sometimes you have to go to both places. First you go here and then you go there. And she's stuck with you in a car because there's only one car. Same thing, one set of legs. So in class, when they go to class, let's say now one of them has to be in math and the other one has to be in English. So when one learns math, the other one has to also learn math. When the other one learns English, he has to listen to English. I don't want to tell you if they want to get married and they have one wife. When one of them wants to be with his wife, the other one has to put a tape on his ear or something. You know, this is it. It's better to manage with everyone. God forbid to come back like this. Anyway, before time is running out. אמר רבי מאיר, עשה אדם מצווה אחת, נותנים לו מלאך אחד. Every mitzvah that you do, create one angel that his name is after the mitzvah you made. You made mitzvah achilat matzah, the name of this angel is matzah. You did chesed, the name of that angel is chesed Yosef. Chesed Yitzchak. On this angel, you see the date that he was created, from what mitzvah, by whom. When you die, this angel comes to testify to your favor. When you make a sin, you create a bad angel that comes to your trial to prosecute you. You understand? You make sure that you have more angels to protect you than angels to prosecute you. Someone who does many mitzvot gets many angels. שנאמר כי מלאכיו יצווה לך. Why? It's also keeping him from all kinds of damages in this life, not only in a trial and the next life. בא מיני רבי מרבי ישמעאל. Rabbi asked Rabbi Ishmael ברבי Yossi, the son of Rabbi Yossi. עשירים שבארץ ישראל, the wealthy people in the Holy Land, what's their merit that they so rich? He told them their merit as they're very precise in giving maaser. They give 20%. It's called chomesh. First maaser and another maaser. שנאמר אסר תאסר, double, אסר תאסר. אסר בשביל שתתעשר. Hashem say, I'm allowing you to test me in this mitzvah. If you give at least 10% from your net income, not gross, net income, I have a whole lecture about how you give maaser. You can go into my website. I don't have time to start explaining all the rules. If a person is careful to give, automatically one day he will see wealth. The wealthy people in the exile, in those days it was in Babylon, but all over the world is the same thing. What's their merit? Because they respect the Torah. When the rabbis go overseas to collect money for their yeshiva, they help. They help to support the yeshivot. That's their success. That's their sgula of parnasah. And in rest of the countries, out of Babylon, they respect Shabbat. Everywhere you go, every community, Shabbat is special there. Amar Rabbi Chia Baraba, one time I went to an owner of a house in Lutkia. It's the name of a city. And they brought to him a table, pure gold. 16 people had to carry it. That's how heavy the whole table is. Pure gold is a table only for Shabbat. During the week, they have a wood table. They remove the wood and they bring pure gold, heavy. Imagine how much it would be today when gold is almost 1,300. But 16 people need to carry it. You don't have to, you can imagine how heavy it was. And 16 chains of pure silver are attached to it, chains. And bowls and plates and glasses are stuck into it. There's holes that you can put them in, and all of it, of course, is gold. And the best food on earth, and the best perfumes, and the best silk. And when they bring the table, they say, LeHashem haaretz umloa, Hashem is the owner of this land, everything belongs to Him. And when they take the table, they say, heaven is to Hashem, but the earth He gave to humankind. When they bring it, they say, everything is Hashem. Everything, heaven and earth. When they remove it, they say, heaven is always Hashem, and the land He gave to us. Right? So I asked that owner, that millionaire, I asked him, what is your zchut? What is your merit that you became so rich? Bli ayin hara. Today, if you ask this question, he kicks you out of the window. He brings all the chamsot. It's hot here, it's hot. Miriam, bring the chain. Bring salt. Everyone with his customs. In the old days, you could still ask a millionaire, what's your zchut? Because you want to learn. Maybe I'll also be tzaddik like you. So he told him, what's your zchut that you have all this? He said, I used to be a butcher. A butcher. I slaughter animals. Every beautiful animal that I saw, chubby, nice lamb, sheep, or cow, whatever it was, right away I put it aside. I said, this is for Shabbat. Don't touch, don't sell. We take it home for Shabbat. But if he sees an animal after a day that it's better than the one he puts aside, he puts that one back in the market and he takes the better one. So always, every week, whatever he has in his business, he takes the best animal to eat on Shabbat, lichvot Shabbat. So he told him, Ashrecha shezachita, how lucky you are that you have this merit and you deserve it, and Baruch hamakom shezikacha lechach. Bless Hashem that gave you your reward that you deserve it. Amar HaKesar leRabbi Yoshua ben Hanania, the Caesar, the Roman Caesar that was in charge of Israel, the governor. He asked Rabbi Yoshua ben Hanania, what is this smell that comes out of your house every Shabbat, during the night and in the morning? I passed by your homes. It's amazing, this food. He's talking about the chulent. You leave it on the fire all Shabbat, so it smells the whole house. He says, we have a special spice that we use in the food. The name of the spice is Shabbat. So he says, once we put it in the food, it makes great smell. He told him, give me some spice. I'll pay you. Tell me how much. So he told him, no, the secret of the spice is only to those who keep Shabbat. You a goy, you cannot keep Shabbat. I can give you as much spice as you want. It won't help. You know, it reminds me, one goy came to the Jew. We said, Rabbi, how come you Jews are so smart? Everywhere I go, the best business people, the best lawyers, the best doctors. What's going on here, you know? We have to have a secret. It cannot be everybody smart. So he told him, we have a special fish that we eat, and it makes us very sharp. He said, what's that? He said, it's called herring. It's small fish, herring. Herring. He said, herring? Oh, how much is a jar? He said, $300 for a jar, 1 pound. Wow, it's crazy. $300 for a jar? Don't you want to be sharp? So, of course, here, buy me one. Next day, brings him herring. The guy walks with the herring on the street, happy. Finally, I'll open my head a little bit. You see on the store, 1 pound of herring, $4.99. He say, what? The same one, same company. He goes back to the Jew. He said, what? You fooled me. I paid you $300 for this thing. It's $5 in the store. He say, you see? It's already working. Look how smart you became. You couldn't think about it before. לא חרבה ירושלים. Yesterday was Tisha B'Av, Baruch Hashem. We passed Tisha B'Av, the salvation didn't come. Amar Rav Yehuda. Why Jerusalem was destroyed? Why? Why Jerusalem was destroyed? Because they disrespected the Talmidei Chachamim in the time of Yerushalayim. They didn't give them the proper respect. Hashem said, if that's the case here, I don't want to see you anymore. Yerushalayim was destroyed. Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav, כל המבזה תלמידי חכמים אין לו רפואה למכתו. Someone who cursed a rabbi or a Talmid Chacham, or spoke lashon hara about him, or caused him any harm, or any sorrow, or didn't help him enough when he was desperately in a need. In general, it's called disrespecting him. There is no cure to his sicknesses. The sicknesses that he gets because of that will not have any cure. Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav, Mai dichtiv, al tigu b'mshichai u'b'nvi'ai al tareu. Hashem says, do not touch my messiahs, with S, plural, and my prophets, do not harm them. Al tigu b'mshichai, those are the children who sit in yeshivot and learn Torah. Don't dare to stop them or harm them in any way. That's the pleasure of Hashem, to hear these kids learning, reading, Chumash, Gemara, not playing Game Boys. Learning, sitting and learning, and the beautiful songs of the yeshivot, of the kids learn Torah, that's the highest pleasure to Hashem. You stop them, you bother them, you're risking your eternity, not only your life. Those, what's the Nevi'ai al Tareu? So who are the other ones? Those are the older Talmidei Chachamim. Amar Ish Lakish Mishum Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah. In the name of Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah was a different Rabbi Yehuda, not Rabbi. There was another Rabbi Yehuda that was a president. אין העולם מתקיים אלא בשביל הבל של תינוקות של בית רבן. The world remains existing based thanks to the words that comes out of the babies and the kids who sits and learn Torah. That's the gasoline of this world. Amar le Rav Papa le Abaye. Rav Papa got offended when he heard that. He said to his Chevruta, Rav Papa said to Abaye, what about me and you? We gave our life for the Torah. Non-stop, we learn all our life. We do not help the world. We do not contribute to the world's existence. So he told him, אין דומה הבל שיש בו חטא להבל שאין בו חטא. Words of Torah mixed with sins are not the same like pure words of Torah. Before Bar Mitzvah, when they're still not 13 years old, even if they make mistakes and sins, it doesn't register to the soul yet. Yeah, you can see that this kid is not good. It's not a good kid, yes, but his soul is still pure. But you and I, every little sin we made is already contaminate the soul. It stains on our soul. It's not the same. That's why Hashem loved these little kids more than the elders that learns Torah. אמר איש לקיש משום רבי יהודה נשיאה, אין מבטלים של תינוקות של בית רבן אפילו לבניין בית המקדש. If we have to build now בית המקדש, everybody must come and work and participate. Even the Jewish billionaires that make millions every day in New York, they must take off from their businesses, from Wall Street, from real estate, from the retail, from whatever they do. They must stop and come to Yerushalayim and help in the creation of Bet HaMikdash to show that they love and care about the house of Hashem. But the children who sit and learn Torah, you do not disturb them. You cannot take the risk of getting them up from the books. You make them stay, even if it's 12, if 13, they can still come and help. No. You don't touch them, they sit and learn. אמר איש לקיש לרבי יהודה נשיאה, כך מקובלני מאבותיי. I know it from tradition from my fathers. כל עיר שאין בה תינוקות של בית רבן, every city that doesn't have yeshivot for kids, elementary school for kids that sits and learn Torah, the end of that city to be destroyed. If Jews living there and they did not make yeshiva for kids over there, they send their kids somewhere else to a different city. They didn't care to make yeshiva in this town. There's no blessing in this town. One day this town will be destroyed. Ravina say this city is in cherem. Cherem is like disqualification. What's the right word for cherem? Excommunication. Excommunication. That's the right word. Isolation. Amar Rava, lo charva Yerushalayim. One of the reasons Yerushalayim was destroyed because pasku mimena anshe emunah. People stopped being honest. Up to then, everyone was 100% honest. A word is a word, a promise is a promise, business is business. Once people started to cheat and deceive, it brought the destruction. Shene'emar v'chule v'chule. We're still in Masechet Shabbat. Let's see how much we have left, if we can continue. Okay, we're not going to finish Masechet Shabbat. I would leave it for next week, Bezrat Hashem. Next week, we're going to speak about benefits of the doubt, when you have to give it to people and not. A beautiful story of a person that was working for someone. And then we're speaking about all the mitzvot that the Jews accepted with happiness, they have blessing. Mitzvot that they complained when Hashem gave it, it doesn't have blessing. And also the secrets of the snake of Chava. And there are 6 different kinds of tears. 3 are positive, 3 are negatives. Each tears, what's the effect of it on the life of a person. Very interesting coming next week. Make sure each one of you bring at least 10 more guys or girls. Alright? It's also for ladies this year. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen.